All right. That's fine. We'll go ahead and call our session to order. Our first item of business, Mr. Granum, if you would like to start the podium and present this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. For answers, yes, sir, I will tell the attendance after of our planner. And of course, our crew development legislating. And I mentioned of print services in Red Bank, and I thought that less really need to be rooted in our community development goals plans. So for that, I'm grateful legislators might be here for the presentation. This time, I'm pleased to introduce Charles Frazier, Chattanooga Area Regional Transportation Authority, CARTA Chief Executive Officer. Charles became CEO in January 2020 following the retirement of predecessor, December. Previous Charles served as the Chief Operating Officer of the Jacksonville Transit Authority, and before that, as CEO of Rock Metro Transit System, Little Rock, and before that, as the Deputy Director of the Paul Rand System in Palm Beach. So, Mayor, City Commissioner, great to be with you guys. My name is Charles. I'm the CEO of CARTA, as just introduced, and this is my picture work. It does. All right, I'll take a your time. I do it and together. So, just a minute as I go through this. Talk about CARTA, just explain to you CARTA, to show you what I've been doing for the last year and a half, almost 2 years. It includes a long vision, region. I've been very focused on important priorities on the inside of the organization, and talk about the that I've been involved. Also, some of the outcomes we've had some good outcomes in the last year and how those things. Then also about next and opportunities. And I want to hear, understand there's a relationship between Red Bank and CARTA that's been ongoing. I'm happy that we continue this. Before I started, I would just introduce myself a little bit. I'm from the Pacific Northwest originally. I grew up in Alaska as a child. My parents located in Spokane, Washington, where I would call attended Gonzaga University. If there are basketball fans out there, go Zags, that's right. The majority of my career has been in the Southeast, and so all of that has been public service. And so, fortunately, I worked for Long County government, board of county commissioners, and I was really good. I started in the community services department, and so that's veteran affairs, Head Start, senior services. I think just that giving kind of my thought process of being in government services and providing for the community is just stuck with me. That's my view. I've taken that in transit as well. So I'm going to share with you my thoughts on CARTA today, and then I look forward to a conversation thereafter. Okay, first of all, describe CARTA from my view. We have 3 lines of this. Most people don't remember this. So we operate the incline railway, which is a very unique asset for a transit authority. Second, we own and operate the parking and the downtown shuttle. This is probably the greatest opportunities I see for the authority that connect between people that own and operate cars on them, do park, and when they park, opportunity to introduce them to public transit, which is shuttle. So really unique opportunity to region, and also public service you're familiar with. Sometimes that's the bus, 30-foot bus, caravan, microtransit, and services. I want to talk briefly about local economic impact. If you go across all of CARTA services, we are supporting 1,700 jobs. So it's a very important resource for people getting to work and earning a living. Our employees alone, so the contributions that we get from the cities, all of our salaries, the wages, that all goes into the local economy, and you look at $55 million of economic impact, all of our employees and the contribution they're making to the community. And And finally, economic impact of way. We had over 200,000 visitors in 2024. That generates for us over $4 million of revenue. Part of that tourist ecosystem really contributing to the $45 spending that's going on. Okay, service. The current service area, if you have your screen, you see on the left hand is squiggly lines of our current routes where we serve. And those that Red Bank our fixed route, which is unfortunate. But to start with that is service area, the metropolitan statistical area. Vice Mayor is familiar with this from her MPO. All of this is opportunity. Car safety ordinance is able to provide services in all of this area. We just don't take it. So I think for me, just a huge opportunity for us. Down below those stats, I want you to be aware that across our transit services, we get about 4,000 average trips on an average weekday. People go to work, school, and medical appointments. And then in our parking, generate on average about 5,000 attractions on a typical weekday. Of great importance for you and me, CARTA has not introduced all of the abilities that are available to us in this industry. For example, we do not have a bus parking system with QBus. We have not introduced Amboy, which is a huge opportunity in this community. We have not done integration with transportation companies like Uber and Lyft, which would help facilitate movement and mobility. For these are all things that are ripe for opportunity, and my team and I will bring to the table in the next couple of years. Okay. Switching to my focus in the last year and a half, almost 2 years now. One of you, my point of view about building a mobility ecosystem in this community. So let me describe what you're looking at. The yellow lines, so it's going to be out here, but the yellow lines represent the fixed network that exists today. It's probably not perfect. We need to do some tweak, but by and large, we've got the corridors identified. What needs to happen is to build on top of this, and we need to add mobility hubs. I'm going to define that for you. And basically, services converge. We need to add high frequency routes that can move very quickly. I'm not talking about meandering bus that takes an hour to get to the other side of town. I'm talking about quick 15-minute freely to get people to just and make appointments. I'm talking about the introduction of microtransit or on-demand service zones. Actually go out in neighborhoods, get people from the neighborhood, bring them to the mobility hub, transfer to buses, and get to their final destination. So it's not one trip, one seat trip. And then finally, the parking opportunities are here. So this is kind of image I'd like you to know that's in mind when I'm thinking about our region, and it's not just Chattanooga, it's the whole region. That's what we need to be building. There is a long-term vision that already been solidified by my board, by the MPO, and also will be considered by the city of Chattanooga. And that is the Chattanooga document. This is their 20-year strategy, and within that document, when I first got here, I got to draft, and there was not a mention of transit, mobility hubs, and so I requested, and then they responded. We opened up and created a mobility layer in that strategic growth plan, and they did so. So in that, and if you go online, you start to see there's specific areas that call out where we would anticipate routes, high capacity cores, microtransits. I did include there that does show that right into Ring is a corridor for transit, not just Red Bank, Ridge, and other parts of the community as well. So just for growth, we are thinking about these things. Let me share with you some of the memories in the last year and a half. So first of all, this is a quick win. One of the things I did is we're targeting. The first thing we did was make the product free. It's a little bit counterintuitive. I'm going to show you results of that. It's been highly successful. Utilization is up, revenue is up, which is a surprise for folks. But also new programs. So one of the policies that we put in place right away, all students, K through 12, are able to ride for free. And we just recently celebrated 40,000 student trips. When we first did the program, it was a little bit slow to take off. Very quickly now, we have over 1,600 students registered. We have a high water day of over 100 student trips in one day. We often see 100-200 student trips weekdays, and then often even on Saturdays, so going to work or activities. Big success. Next, fixing the nation. I say it, and I want to say it very respectfully. Has not been funded properly for probably 30 years, chronically under. And what led to, and you know this, at the city level, deferred maintenance. We have raised our vehicles. We have invested in technology. We have invested in infrastructure, which means that the bus is in a grassy, muddy, no security lighting. And so when people say nobody riding the bus, what's going on, I start to think about the basics of that. So we started to put together a bus capital placement plan. You're starting to see some of those vehicles on the road. Now, similarly, very internal focus. Most people not appreciate or recognize the city leaders will. I laser focus on safety, compliance with federal and state regulations, and these are just internal things that we've had to fix before we do a lot of government expansion. Applications. There are some opportunities for competitive grants. In the last 18 months, we have just on the competitive, we've secured $10 million of grants. So I'm really thankful for the city of Paducah who got the local match, which is about $5 million. So that's over 500% return on investment to get that $10 million, which will pay for vehicle placement, fair technology, big studies, and other things which I'll share with you. And finally, you can't know about the tragedy of December 7th last year on a fire. We really took a lot of time. The system is back up and running. Sunday, we enjoyed our 130th anniversary, and it was really quite successful. Those things have been busy for the last year. Also, the community engagement. I want to set a minute view. A lot of time is spent with community leaders. It's not only elected officials, but folks that are involved in the community. We do a lot of transit tours. And what I'm talking about is getting folks on a bus, everybody in this room, and let's get on this and let's go down Dayton and talk about infrastructure, talk about a location for mobility. Let's ride the system and Route 4 all the way to Hamilton Place, which is where so many job opportunities are. So a lot of what I'm doing in this picture, right, that's me on the microphone on the bus, I'm just pointing things out to people. Just the longer way to kind of educate and inform. It's really the only way I know how to operate in space. We do a lot of work at Chat 2.0, Hamilton County School District, get word about the free service students. This is where a lot of time is. And when we end here, I will make myself available to you and your team to do the same as you wish. So moving on to share some of the outcomes here. Much of my time, I think I'm doing all right. Quickly here. So results. We've had big increases. So our hour free. What I know is that in a year comparison, people that took it at first hour free of ourselves, 159% increase. But people say the second hour, so we're getting increase at 20%, revenue 16%. Big news is that Sharp North, that's the climbing wall, 1,380% increase in taking advantage of that first hour free. And what they do is they come to the shuttle, which we're seeing our shuttle ridership go up. The second hour taking longer, total parking is up, revenue is at 80%. So, just a great win for the authority. Ridership is also, I shared two statistics with you. Much of this, we have not changed the routes. Other routes have changed. We haven't added any stops. We are just doing boots around, travel training, and planning to use the system. We had our high speed day average ridership this year higher than the last 4 years. Year over year, 9% increase in ridership and truck service. This is really kind of heard of. Industry's kind of creeping up at 3%, so we're really making a market. And then our caravan service, this one's crazy. You can see the right here. In the last year, we are over 50% for us. I'm just going to show you the red bag. Year over year is the view. If you just look at October alone, it's 105% increase ridership for the month of October. So broke down through some of the ridership, the purposes. You see that employment is majority of people that are traveling. So it's to and from jobs, dialysis, education. And so I think really good service. I think it's meeting the needs of the community. I think additional opportunities there we can talk about. Next opportunities, just kind of my final couple slides. I'm happy to take some questions. For me, I want you to know that it's now at the point where I've got my team in place. We've got some of the compliance safety issues addressed. We are mapping out how we're going to get from where we are today to that future vision of 20 years down the road. That's going to be an incremental change. We put some key performance indicators in place so that we've got some data to make those decisions. Much of what we're going to be doing is identifying the locations for those mobility hubs. If you look at that video that I shared with you, we're creating this kind of silhouette of a network. It's going to be where services all connect. So we're going to spend a lot of time to share one image with you of what mobility might be. It doesn't have to necessarily be a new facility we need to invest in. It could be a community center. It could be the library. This one's the library in Midtown. It's secure lighting. It's a shelter element. It's a bike station. It's a charge station for a vehicle. So it's where all of these services get converged. So we want to be really strategic on that. And then finally, I want to just let you know that a big thing we're going to do is a transit-oriented development study. We were awarded $700,000 for a TOD study on the River Corridor. Quickly, TOD, transit-oriented development, is really where economic development, transit, infrastructure, and land use all converge. And it's we want to put eyes on where we're going to invest in infrastructure and high density and transit as well. So we're looking for a study which will kick off the first of the year. That's my introduction. I'm happy to have some discussion if there's time. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ranger. That was very informative and very sweetly delivered.
Great.
Does it have any questions or thoughts?
A little. We ride the bus, meet my dad downtown with the Chris lights and stuff. It's been a while ago.
Yeah.
From here in the
Bus. It was
I have a picture that I dug out of our safe and of the old network. And so many years ago, there were outs here at Red Bank, Signal now, out East Ridge. And to me, it's just so fortunate that just budgets and priorities out in the way, so those don't exist. Thank you for sharing.
very good.
just as a reminder, we have had general cargo transit services since 1996. It was one of our contracts at that time due to budget constraints. I think Director Slay had something.
What would you attribute that significant increase in the past 12 months?
Yeah, I've got the answer. So this is one of those compliance and technology issues. So I want to be respectful of the team. We had our employees very, very good hearted, wanting to do the very best they could with the resources that they had. They were not using, they were never trained on the technologies that exist to manage the scheduling of these trips. And so we were not using technology for one, and two, we were out of compliance in the way that we were doing it from a full standpoint. And so we fixed those things. We turned on the technology system, trained everybody on using it properly. So technology now does the scheduling. What that did for the system was it improved the efficiency and the reliability. Now the system is more efficient, more reliable. People are departments, and all the places that use that really is. We've seen that across the board. It's not a thing. It's all trying to get that Easter.
Thank you.
I would say we definitely do understand the internal development process here in Red Bank. I know it's not sexy, flashy to be doing this kind of work, but it eases you up for opportunities and things to do. So exciting to hear, because if the case, then I'm looking to seeing first and full even what we see here in current and future. I was also curious about paratrans. You happen to know that mentions a number of trips. You happen to know the effect on unique users.
I can get that information for you. I don't have it yet. We provided. I'll find that for you, and I'll make sure the team has it. That as well.
So, just kind of a thought with eyes on getting a future line into a bank. An interesting idea for an asset to that would be the Broad Street Shuttle kind of extension of your Red Bank, maybe because of Food City or something. In the weekends, get folks from Red to downtown back to run up parking. That was an interesting idea for like visibility.
Even a pilot.
That project, like try to hold busy weekends, like something large is happening downtown.
Yeah, the answer is absolutely. I love pilot projects because it gives you a little bit of a sense to work in. And what I want to do is have all the discussion and city manager can coordinate that for us. I want to be real strategic on what that is. It is on making sure that the target audience is well informed on we do it. Yes, I think those terms as well about like tap a little bit, let's see what you do, and I think that's a good idea. The partner on that.
The children either ride for free. What's the local charge for a bus ride?
$1.50. It's very inexpensive, reasonable, and then if you have a pass, it's $55.
Okay, for a month.
For one trip.
Thank you.
And when would be kind of logical time in this process to do maybe potentially a trip tour?
Oh, transit tour, I just will schedule at your convenience, basically. I find it's really, I think I use it because I'm a visual learner, and I can't remember it, and I gotta see it. And so it's important to me to kind of, I want to really learn about this community in particular, I don't guess, and give you, something you don't need. I really understand. So I think it would be good for me, I want to send some to the manager, understanding kind of map a route. To me, the obvious way and like getting downtown, and just I want you to know that when I'm riding bus, which I do, I hear often from folks, ready to do something in Bank, when are you going to do something in yes, they would like to live here. It's more affordable, you can get to the rest of the world, and so many of them are using the bus. They don't know a way to get to work. So, yeah, I think that we should map out. Maybe a quick time might give us a little challenge. We will schedule it. So at your convenience.
All right. Any other questions at this time? Okay, Mr. Brandon?
Here, I would like to, a city manager.
Thank you.
It's one of the most experiences we have in this region.
Absolutely.
I feel like your colleague.
I feel blessed, and it's my pleasure. I want to take all my experience and like forward its communities. Thank you for the invitation, and I'm here for this work.
Thank you,
All right, thank
Mr.
you very
Fraser.
much.
Thank you. Next up on our agenda, we have our fire department briefing. Chief Snyder.
Good evening, Commissioners. Several months ago, we went over our 2025 coordinated year while I was off sick. The combination of me and the deputy chief training guy. I'm with it to give it up and all. So, I've been at our point, but we're probably on vacation. I went to the door yesterday when I deleted and started. So this is the product of the last 2 months trying to get this up because I was was it wanted to be done before vacation, and after vacation, thinking about it, a few days vacation, I decided, no, I'm not probably, so, but it was already over. So, we'll go with this one. So, I put together, I found this little slide. I put it in there, I thought it was neat myself. Just kind of talks what we're going to talk about, our goals and priorities, our personnel, operations, and budget, our capital project dates, and then a little bit, far back, and it's dangerous. I took this out of a newsletter last month. We're late service, change in face of fire, and it has affected safety and our community. Of course, every second matters life, and so does every firefighter. Of course, this little blurb of information, protect life in there, having high quality, skillful, careful, and cost effective. I believe we meet all of those objectives. So, in this document that went over several months, there was a piece of the fire chief. And the fire chief talked about several items. Myself, I talked about several items, one of them being increasing on-duty tax. So, the proposed request, actually, what we went through this year was maintain our current circle of two-person entities in a single service company. The goal of the study was to increase in on-duty staffing for energy companies, but was not budgeted. So that one we budgeting how that one passed. The next was in communication with the stakeholders. So the solution use our system, our teams, our OneDrive system to get more communication out into the field, because we got 3 shifts, 3 leaders, of each shift, see one day, you see the next, and you see the next, trying to tell them the same thing every time. You tend to end up getting more of electronic communication to send the same out to everybody. So everybody knows what's going on in the fire department. So, I believe that communication with our stakeholders, which is the members, has increased. Updating policies and procedures. That is not an overnight solution, because when you got a policy and procedures book that this thick, you don't really change to make changes overnight. You work on it. So that's definitely a work in progress. We're taking a look at our policies and procedures to make sure where we need to be. The trend fire service today, everything going on, and all the things that are coming out on the market, you have to be ready. EV batteries. EV batteries are the big thing into taking changing the face of fire service. And then ensure adequate resources. This is to replace outdated equipment. This year we have those to replace, which we're working on changing power ventilation, part of that. Changing dedicated to broken appliances, changing the appliances we use and call them, but it's the equipment is fire with. So we check those valves on the side of the Jeep that we replaced. And of course, we added the battery operated chairs. So it's here. We're just waiting to schedule some training, and it's in a box office right now.
Put it together.
No.
Oh,
Okay. About this wide, this tall, about this deep. And then it weighs about 55 pounds.
Then a person to do it.
But it's right, and so it's very so most it does put it and take the weight off of the fire.
Okay.
So the fire marshal had a 6-minute report. So ensure citizens fire safety code enforcement. To date, completed 3 plus life inspections. And of course, they're still going. Every Friday, they're 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 4:30, making sure that they all got their correct. We don't want them just going in the market. You watch the news, it happens across the country. We stay up with the trucks. So unregulated road restaurant. So, the fire marshal is active to make sure that things are supposed to be, we should have problems. So, that's what we did. Education, residents, civic and community groups, our life safety programs. Of course, we know we just got our vision month, or we call it month because because you have to schedule preschools, communities that are going on, and the daycare that they're on to come up, come up. Absolutely. Start back in the fire truck. So it's busy because that month is busy for him and for the group, because all participants, not just myself, the group participate. Part of what we're doing. And their section over in the innovation section, it talks about being out in the community. That's where the communities like and those things and other things about they had on Saturdays, if they had, hey, come up with hang absolutely come up with material things. And so that's those to get out of the community. And then let's use objective fire calls it an investigation. You can't do it, you have fire. Not fire. So we have occasionally, but they're actually, I think, a little below, probably just one tonight. So tomorrow I'll be like so next was the ultra restriction. That's what we're talking about. So our Facebook page, we use the newsletter how they promote about it. The City Hall here, and all those things should get us our ISO score using those things. This is credit point using social media, newsletters, the board out here to reach more of our population. So it works. And we should change our insurance rate low. Yes. The lower the higher, everybody. Yes. And so that's kind of an update on the fire marshal. Next is oops, I forgot to put the screen. Next is the training division. Now he had this part of this document earlier this year, and so I tried to size it in some smaller things. So training priorities is fundamentals, which is fundamental skill area to effectively save lives and protect property. Advanced strategies and tactics, of course. Advanced tactics that enhance our life saving, and then the specialized proficiency. So you get into the technical rescue, the emergency medicine, which is our EMR first responder stuff. Fire stations, we've got one fire marshal. We have 4 members that have the certification of fire inspector. So there's more than just one of the doctors. So, and then of course investigation. So with fire investigations, you certify fire investigations. You also got members that are certified in other countries just underneath. So it's a big team. It's an involvement of lots of people to make things happen. Our training still, we all know the stack of behind us too. That we're slowly building small because to buy one is about $150,000. We're doing it bit by bit, about 5,000 a year. We're doing it health, and we're making what we need more red, but it's all safe. It's all safe. So undergoing construction project, we got it now. We used to second floor. Community meetings, we all approved the stairs to the second and third floor. Access all the way 3 levels, and then we'll later with other things you'll need to do other things. Not that we can burn it yet, but we have to the inside walls with something. So we're trying to get the stairs up and all that. We actually into setting fires in. We'll use our tables that we got. We got this flat edge room up in about a second. You can't see far in front. Of course, our classroom is a little room station too. 20 years. A bucket of paint's that much, and he'll extra time, and he can paint and change it. And sure. So it's pretty to get out and about. We'll take a look at the training room. It's been fire halls have been painted over a couple of years, and it's all done by the membership. I painted, and of course, painted some heroes walls and time when they done stuff like statues got fire on. One's got on it, but it's got the fire patch in the lawn. We see nobody thought 25 years was big, so they want to if it makes you happy, go for it. So this is the breakdown of the training that has been going on so far. 38 and 2 hours. The graph kind of like it's up down, that's down. They're training, of course, they're always doing different things. They're doing skills, technical issues. We've got emergencies and apparatus operations, of course. This week, he hosted the third class, fire off 2, so the next level. And we got fire off, so this week there's no class. Yeah. 12 students, 6 from the fire, 4 full-timers and part-timers, 6 outside students. So, he sends a survey to students to reply what they thought about the class. He gets them back. He said, "Need to look at it." And everybody that went, instructor 1 come back for officer 1 because they needed that, and they come back and 2 officer 2 because they said the play great, location is great, and the instruction. You're doing a good job. So kind of there. More stuff in training. I said training is the biggest place, which is what I was about. Global training. This is some of the stuff that we have done in-house, but it's for all the people. So basically, forensic photography, and that was the IAAI, International Association of Art Investigators. That was an intense class on how to teach you how to take pictures of crime scenes. And you had some police officers, yeah. So not only for the fire service, the agencies were also with too. We've had our we've gone to some new classes for incident team. Several of those have happened until funding got FEMA, and so that was into those classes. Then of course we sent 4 guys to the Fire Instructors Conference. And we had a couple of members in the basic criminal investigations class back in April and end of May. Pretty neat couple fires go to police class. But they had a ball, and then they the basic SWAT operation built in July. That's the one where I had to go to the police class and another police class, and they had a ball, and they said they had fun. It was a SWAT class. Didn't make it tougher, man. Of course, you've got your ICS 100 and 400, which is required of all of our officers. So they've been to those classes that were taught. So you've got the annual training conference Tennessee chapter of the IAAI, which this year I was asked to run for a board seat and got elected by my peers as a board member association. So that's a 3-year term as a board member for the chapter. I missed my first meeting while I was vacation. But I told them in July that I would be there. I already knew I was going to be on vacation. Of course, we had to pass the municipal leadership program in October that was 30. Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey to get with a couple of employees.
Gladly.
And then, like I said, we've had Director 1 this in early October, Instructor 3 in middle October, to 2 members to Alabama Fire College for their 3. So if they can promote higher than they're at, Officer 3 is as a certification that could be, it's kind of there, so it could be a for the position, so you get that level of certification. And of course, they did fire officer 1 in-house in Red Bank, and this week fire officer 2. That was an update on where the training is at, this year. The operations, so enhanced emergency response. The goal was to try to reduce response time by 10%. There's strategic development of resources and improvement programs. For 2024, the goal was respond less than 429 seconds. 195 calls out of 751, or 60%. So far, today, we're in the number. So, we got any slower, but we ain't got any faster. But we also run less calls this year because last year we run 751. This year we run 788. So,
Okay.
Strength and training and development. So that goes back to the goal was to conduct monthly training sessions focused on certain goals. Each shift is reaching their goal, with some going above one and others still working on goals. Where we got a new shift officer, he's still trying to get comfortable with where he needs to be and things and what he needs to be doing. It's a process. Community education, we talk about that. Fire marshal, because that goes back to the goal of getting out to the public. Operations and equipment, maintenance and upgrades, establishing a schedule. That's a work in progress. We have that has to be today. Most of it because it's required every day. Trying to figure a schedule so that everything doesn't show it October at one time. We space this through the year. So trying to get it scheduled so we can move this is fun, but that's what we're working on. And then help wellness initiatives. Wellness program and physical fitness activity. Work in progress. Not an overnight thing, but it's in progress as the crews. We definitely crews are using the workout. Playing pickleball, but that's with fitness. Of course, so there's video talks and there's a call. Game's over. Yeah. So, almost like faster. You get it. So this is 543. So this one talks about kind of things that what we do, what the elders do, which we do anytime. So I'm not we taught it. This talks about the NDA and different staffing. We all know that staffing minimums for work with 2 our equipment. This is a budget, so the 26 budget. So this is the middle of the letter we had in the budget. So we had 2% COLA personnel, and as we've all been heard, we made a significant increase in salaries in our police. So it's definitely got some pressure coming to me, and we getting our raise. I don't control this, but definitely a pressure on us as staff that they're taking it too. Operations, about that, the differences we had, and what we're doing operations with the different stuff. Most of the stuff is in operation we have done. Capital equipment. So, the hose is there, everything is here, and just waiting for on the chair. And then look ahead. Like I said before, I'm always reaching manpower and everything. I'm always personnel, and of course the salaries, pressure from the city candidate.
Thank you. Any questions?
Here we see the new facility at our February.
Yes. That'd be a good time because you can lobby there on May and we can get
Chair.
Chair works. Absolutely. That's what we're
I can feel it.
All right. Thank you you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll go ahead and move on to citizen comment items on the portion agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the time for citizens' comments. Please observe your laws. Comments limited to a closed session. Or will not be time. Comments expires, please refer direction and please comments. Comments should be addressed once a whole and not to the commissioner, city staff, or the audience. The commission is here to not for or engaging back, so please not have to reply to citizen comment. Citizens are invited to the podium to begin by stating your name and address.
All right, we have no comments. Is that okay if we retract to the regular agenda? All right, so item 3, monthly financial update for Ms.
Good evening. Trying to get this together simply. So this is the update for October, 2025. If you see the bottom of the first page, revenues are at 16%, where we expect to be right now. We won't recognize the revenue shortfall until next month, so whenever I get my for November, we should see that we'll have a rise, but it won't be quite as it was last year at the same time. So we're not experiencing that just yet. This is normal. Expenditures are at 30%, so these are 33.3% for the year, so we're running up with that. And again, this will lower some percentages whenever we have done that update spreadsheet that I use to keep track of this when we do the budget amendments. So when we finish that, we'll do those amendments to the spreadsheet as well. The other funds are as expected. Right along with the solid waste and the stormwater elected at the same time as the property taxes. So we're both there. I'm experiencing these short in revenue, but the time is just not there yet. So they have elected as of yet. But everything else is in. I would add that we received our round of reimbursement requests for the tax relief today. We did that today. Classes and the one only, so $600.61. So we are receiving those weekly as people have started to pay their taxes, and so we received the first round today. So we're going to implement the program. So
Yes.
start on it.
So will we know, I guess, in February is when we'll get the last kind of notification of that, when those are due?
It probably will go to in April.
Okay.
Depending on how long it takes our office
So
to
process
the
thing. Okay.
Any questions?
So, thank you so much, Nicole. All right. Item 4 on the consent agenda, accept the James L. Richardson driver matching in an amount of $4,000, budget number 5-1867. Director Tate.
Mayor, Commissioners, this is a grant that provides for municipalities like this year to help with costs in some fashion that we use a grant to our GPS tracking systems. Public Works is the largest percentage of GPS tracking systems, but fire and police will have some as well. This year we're going to spend $12,036 for monthly service for that, and this grant also about a third of that.
So this is just for Public Works.
It's for everybody.
Oh, everybody. Okay. You got Public Department just has the largest.
We have the largest, and there was a time probably had, I think, with the cats, just fire police, quit using them for what they found a need to install those in some vehicles.
Okay.
They're a small portion. This grant, the primary purpose of this grant is to release from the commission allowing us to apply.
Excellent. Thank you. Any questions, Dr. Tate? Okay. Thank you. Moving on to item 5 on the consent agenda, authorization to participate and accept funds from the Bullet Parts Partnership Grant and a reimbursement of up to $10,710. Resolution number 25/1858. Seymour. Good.
Barbara's expensive law enforcement, we have a lot of those anyways. This grant helps cover those costs, so it's a reimbursement grant. So we get the cost of the rest, and we're able to help with offset the cost by this grant. So the grant covers a 2-year period. Our current grant cycle is running out, which is this. So this is asking you to apply to be able to accept.
It's a very specific number.
You have to estimate how many are going to be at that time. So part of that number includes vestment or expiring,
Okay.
and then to account for onboarding employees and all of that.
Okay. All right.
That's years too. So next year we have 10 or so that are expiring. In a short time.
Okay.
There's a shelf life too.
Yes. There are 5 years.
All right.
I did look up, they can be reused once it's been shot at, I think. But that was a curious one to me, is if they recycled. Plus, is that
Well, we're not.
not that I tested?
I've never heard anybody reaching the vest that's actually been shot. So
I wouldn't think so. Just curious. And look up.
even some of the companies will actually, it was actually protected the officer has been shot at, but oftentimes place that vest free. So
Okay, that's it.
some companies,
Now, with them being seen, of course, that you share with the shifts. No, it's not for the one
this is like on the
person.
right, that goes to uniforms that they would bring
That's specific for the officer.
they're measured to each officer in a year. So
Thank you.
we got about 10 that are trained, and then we take about 3 years just on board. New officer years. That's 3 years, so it's 2 years.
How much does that cost?
They, most recent estimation is about $1,500 a piece. I think about 6 or so years ago, when I first started here, they were like $800 at the end. So, we're looking at alternatives and all that. Also, if we buy bulk, then we can have it could be less, but not to that pure time yet.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions? Item 6 on the consent agenda, renewal of Software International for support the agenda and meeting management software in an annual $17,726.62. Resolution 25/1889. Directly.
And we originally purchased our website and all of the other things that go along with it. We use the Cloud Savings route and went through House International. They have changed their also the office purchase and other purchasing just to bring it up to date with it actually using their vendor. Or I'm sorry, their cooperative purchasing.
All right.
Margaret. Go up, we said about 5%, is everybody's up. And that's also just maybe where they changed, still the same vendor, different purchase, way we purchase it.
It's actually Omni. Did I read that? Omni.
Yeah, it originally was I think it was also on this, I think it's switched it on, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Questions? Moving on to item 7, hearing to rezone 633 Sun Avenue from 1 to RTZ. Ordinance number 5 should be determined. First review rescheduled for the next regular legal meeting on December 2025. Mr. Fan, we do have a hearing today, so here to talk about that.
I have slides, I'm trying to get it done in 4 minutes. I'm happy to move that presentation to the actual reading of the ordinance.
Okay.
But we did schedule and advertise the public hearing today.
Okay.
So I think on your regular agenda, the public hearing.
Okay, well, then we can get details at that time. Great, thank you, Pam. Moving on to any other business to discuss, I believe Graham has something to bring to our attention.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. Mr. Olson and I asked the commission to add on the agenda item at the end of the new business regular session to discuss the appointment of an interim judge. There's a bio, beside your place, a gentleman that will be introducing to you.
Thank you very much. And he does live in Red Bank.
Yes, ma'am. He lives on, I'm told, in the Hill Point subdivision.
Meets that new requirement.
Great.
Okay. All right, any questions about that we added to the agenda of new business? Okay. All right, any other new business to discuss? Or any business to discuss? If not, we'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting. We'll